I'm 82, and this is my biggest regret. Don't make the same mistake. I'm 82, and if I could go back to when I was your age, I would change one thing. Just one. But that one thing would have changed everything. See, when you're young, you think you have all the time in the world. I thought that too. I thought I could fix things later. I thought there'd always be tomorrow. But here's what happened. One day I woke up and I was 60, then 70, then 80. And that one thing I kept putting off, it never happened. Now I'm running out of tomorrows. And I can't stop thinking about what could have been. What I'm about to tell you might save your life. Or at least save you from becoming me. If you're joining us for the first time, please hit the subscribe button. I married Linda when I was 24. She was 22. We were at that age when everything feels possible and nothing feels complicated. I worked at the steel mill. She worked at the hospital as a receptionist. We had a small apartment near the river, and on Friday nights we'd sit on the fire escape and watch the trains go by. We tried for children right away. That's what you did back then. But nothing happened. Month after month, year after year. Linda would cry in the bathroom. I'd pretend I didn't hear. By the time I was 30, we'd seen 4 doctors. They all said the same thing. Nothing was wrong with either of us. Just keep trying. So we did. But the trying stopped feeling like love. It started feeling like a job neither of us wanted anymore. Linda stopped smiling. I stopped coming home on time. When I was 34, my brother Michael died in a car accident. He left behind a wife, Karen, and 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. Karen was 29, overwhelmed, drowning. The funeral was on a Tuesday. I remember because I had to take off work, and my supervisor made me feel guilty about it. After the service, Karen pulled me aside. She was shaking. She said she didn't know how she was going to manage. The kids were 8, 6, and 4. Michael hadn't left much. There was some insurance, but not enough. I told her I'd help. I meant it. I started going over there on weekends, fixing things, mowing the lawn, taking the boys to baseball practice. Linda came with me at first. Then she stopped. One Saturday, about 6 months after Michael died, I was at Karen's house replacing a broken window. The kids were outside playing. Karen made me coffee. We sat at the kitchen table, and she started crying. Not loud, just tears running down her face while she stared at her hands. She said she was so tired, that she felt like she was failing the kids, that Michael would be ashamed of her. I reached across the table and held her hand. That's all it was, just holding her hand. But Linda saw it when she came to pick me up. She didn't say anything in the car, didn't say anything that night. But the next morning, she told me I was choosing Karen over her. I told her that was ridiculous. She said it wasn't. She said I spent more time at Karen's house than I did at home, and maybe she was right. I should have stopped going. I should have set boundaries. But I didn't, because the truth was, at Karen's house, I felt needed. The boys call me Uncle Ray. The little girl, Emma, drew pictures of me. At home, Linda and I just existed in the same space, waiting for something that never came. When I was 38, Karen asked me if I'd ever thought about having more than one wife. It was late. The kids were asleep. We were sitting on her porch. She said her grandmother had told her stories about men who took care of more than one family back in the old country. She said it quietly, like she was embarrassed to even bring it up. I didn't answer right away. I should have said no. Should have told her it wasn't right, wasn't fair to Linda. But I didn't. I just sat there thinking about how I'd spent 10 years trying to have a family with Linda, and here was Karen, with 3 kids, who already called me when they needed something fixed, who waited by the window when I pulled up. I went home that night and told Linda. I don't know why. Maybe I thought she'd fight for me. Maybe I thought she'd care enough to stop me. She didn't fight. She just looked at me with these empty eyes and said, "So that's it? Then..." I moved most of my things to Karen's house 2 weeks later. I still went home twice a week. I still paid the bills for both places. Linda never asked me to leave completely, and I never did. For a while, it felt like I'd made the right choice. Karen's kids needed me. Emma started doing better in school. The boys stopped getting into trouble. Karen smiled again. I felt like I was doing something that mattered. But Linda got quieter. When I came home, she'd be sitting in the dark. She stopped going to church, stopped seeing her friends. One of her co-workers called me and said Linda had started missing shifts. I told myself I'd talk to her about it, but I was tired. I was working double shifts to support 2 households, and I convinced myself she was fine. When I was 42, Karen got pregnant. I don't know how it happened. We weren't trying. It just did. Linda found out because Karen told her sister, who told someone at the hospital, and word got back. I came home one night, and Linda was sitting at the kitchen table with divorce papers. She'd already signed them. She didn't yell, didn't cry. She just slid them across the table and said, "I hope it was worth it." I signed. What else was I going to do? Karen had a boy. We named him Michael after my brother. For a few years, things were good. I had 4 kids now, a full house. I worked myself to the bone, but I felt like I had purpose. Then, when I was 51, Karen met someone at church, a widower named Greg. He was kind, steady. He didn't have baggage. He started coming around, helping with the house. The kids liked him. One night, Karen sat me down and told me she thought we'd made a mistake. She said I'd been a lifeline when she needed one, but that I wasn't really hers. She said I was still married to a ghost. She was right. She married Greg a year later. I still saw the kids, but less and less. They had a new father figure. I was just Uncle Ray again. I moved into a small apartment near the mill. I thought about calling Linda, but I didn't know what I'd say. I thought about looking her up, but I was ashamed. Years went by. I worked. I came home. I watched TV. I got older. When I was 68, I got a letter from a lawyer. Linda had died. Lung cancer. She left everything to me. There wasn't much. A small house we bought together 40 years ago. Some savings. But there was also a letter. It was short. She said she forgave me. Said she understood why I did what I did. Said she hoped I'd found what I was looking for. She also said she wanted to call me 100 times over the years. That she'd driven by my apartment once but didn't have the courage to knock. That she thought about the Friday nights on the fire escape and wished we could have been enough for each other. She ended the letter by saying she never remarried, never even tried, because she'd already given her whole life to me, and there wasn't anything left for anyone else. I sat in that apartment and read that letter until the words blurred. I thought about all the years I'd spent trying to be needed, trying to matter, trying to build something, and I realized I'd already had it. I'd had a woman who loved me, who would have walked through fire for me, and I'd left her sitting in the dark. I'm 82 now. Karen's kids are grown. They send Christmas cards. Emma calls once a year. Michael Jr. lives in Colorado. I haven't seen him in 5 years. I live alone. Some days, I don't talk to anyone at all. I think about Linda every single day. I think about what our life could have been if I had just stayed, if I had just chosen her. That's the one thing I'd change. I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have convinced myself that being needed was the same as being loved. I would have sat with Linda in the dark and told her that she was enough, that we were enough. Because the truth is, you can't build a life on guilt or obligation or try and fill someone else's emptiness. You can only build it on love. And I had that. I had it with Linda. And I threw it away because I was too young and too stupid to see it. Now I'm out of tomorrows. And all I have left are the ghosts of all the people I thought I was saving, when really I was just running away. If you've made it this far, I'm asking you to do one thing for me. Don't wait. If there's someone in your life who matters, tell them. If you've been putting something off because you think you have time, you don't. None of us do. I learned that the hard way. Don't make the same mistake I did.